Hello, it's Debbie Gilbert from the Business Awards Show, and I'm also the founder of the Best Business Women Awards. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Karen Campbell, who has had a very long career in marketing. She has her own marketing company called Karen Campbell Marketing, and she is also the marketing director for Small Business Britain. Karen has quite a phenomenal background with business awards over the last few years, writing award entries, dealing with the small awards, dealing with F Entrepreneur and also Small Business Britain. And she also is an award winner herself, having won a silver award for the best networking group for her networking company, Hotsy Totsy. So we're going to be talking all things award and networking today. So welcome, Karen.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, I'm dying to hear all your backstory,
Oh
because that's
God.
what we start off with. So you set up your business 8 years ago.
I
So
did.
talk us through what made you set up your business. What were you doing before you started your business, and what took
Okay.
you to running your
So
own business?
So I grew up in Yorkshire, so hence the accent. Love it very much. And I was a journalist for 10 years and I worked for predominantly the Metro newspaper. And I used to do there's a section in the Metro newspaper called the arts and entertainment bit. So I used to get sent as an early 20-year-old to review restaurants and theatre and bars. So I had a lovely life. I had the best time. And then I went and worked in a trade magazine, a fashion trade magazine for a while. Which was fun. And I ended up randomly in the fashion industry, not by want of choice. And I'm really not very fashionable, the irony, but I ended up working in the fashion industry. And at the time, I'd always wanted to move to London. And journalism was paying rubbish, sadly. I think it still does, unfortunately. And I wanted to just have a bit of a change of career. So I messaged all my contacts in the fashion world and said, does anyone have any jobs that I could do in London? Because I'm this naive mid-20-year-old at this point. And this lovely woman called Amy Wigg, who was worked for a brand called Fenchurch, which was a skate and streetwear brand. And she said, I need someone in my marketing team to come and help me. Why don't you come and help me? And that's what I did. So I was shut down to London, Dick Whittington style, with my car packed with all my worldly possessions, and started working for this brand. And she taught me so much about marketing. I ended up staying there for a good few years and being the European marketing manager there and looking after the brand all over Europe. And then from there, I went to Diesel, the denim brand, and I was there for a good few years. And I was a wholesale marketing manager there. And I looked after all our wholesale partners from like Harrods, Selfridges, all that, which was incredible. Such a learning curve. And Diesel at that time was a very forward-thinking brand digitally and marketing. So it was, ahead of the curve. And we were doing so much stuff first, which was amazing. And then I went to work. I had enough of Diesel because I was getting a bit old at this point, and partying like Diesel did got a bit tiring. And then I went to work for PRS for Music, which is a music licensing company. And I looked after all the brand partnerships there. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I was there for a good few years. And I think I just had, I don't know if you've ever read The Naked Lunch by William Burroughs, when you have a naked lunch moment when you're just like, what the F am I doing? And I had this meeting where it was all men and me. I think someone had asked me to make them a cup of tea. Do you know that vibe? And I just
Oh,
thought, I think I'm all
yeah.
right. I don't really want to do this anymore.
Mm.
And at the time, there was opportunities to redundancy because it was having a shift. And I put my hand very firmly up and said, "Yes, please. I would love to. I would love to be made redundant. Thank you very much. I think I've had enough of this sexist music industry." And then I'd always had this like desire to start my own business. I'd always had it in the back burner, and I thought, you know what? While I'm on my notice period, let's get it underway. And I went on a coaching course actually with Caroline Rice,
Oh,
who we know. She runs a pure coaching company, and I did her course. I did it twice actually, and it was really, really brilliant. It just made me think differently. I'd never really thought about what my values were, what my limiting beliefs were, and it gave me all this sort of just these things to sort of charge around my head about learning about what I am and what I want to do. So I dabbled with coaching a little bit, but then I was like, you know what? I'm a marketer. I want to do marketing.
mm.
And that's when my business started. So yeah, it's a bit of a roundabout way of getting there.
So you obviously would have set off to go to some networking events. Tell me what your early experience of networking was like.
Oh God, Debbie. So I'm this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, just have my business card printed, walking in. And I've told this story before, but this very, very big bosomed woman, and as we say, there's nothing wrong with a big bosom at all, jumped at me at this networking event and thrust her business card at me and says, "What do you do?" And I sort of said, "Oh, well, I'm just starting. I was a coach and I'm doing my marketing business." And she said, "Well, you can only do one thing. You need to stay in your lane." And I just remember thinking, well, this is awful. So I pretended I needed a wee and left. I just couldn't cope with it. So that was my very first experience with networking. I didn't really like it, if I'm honest. And then I tried a few others, and then I thought you've got to find your the one that suits you, haven't you? And that, so yeah, it was a very amusing first experience and terrifying, if I'm honest.
And then we met at a networking event in London
We
some years
did.
ago now. And then the pandemic happened,
Mhm.
and then you kind of had a little epiphany about setting up your own networking group. So talk to me about that and why Hotsy Totsy really is very different to traditional networking groups.
Yeah, I'm still very much a tourist in London. Even though I've lived here since 2008, I still get wowed by London all the time. And what I love about London is there's all these mad little venues and events and things you can do that are quite hidden that nobody really knows about. And so I wanted to just bring women really together to experience this in a social capacity. So I don't really, I mean, I like the word networking, but it's not really a networking club. It's more of a social club. So the idea is getting these women together. We have an amazing time together, and no matter where you're from or what you do, I think if you sit next to somebody at a brilliant dinner and you get on and you have a great chat, inevitably it's going to come to what do you do? You know, what do you do for a living? And if you've had a good chat with that person or you've had a shared experience with that person, when you need something along those lines, that's the person you'll
Yeah.
think of. You know, I wanted to do the antithesis of business card, big boobed woman. I wanted to do, something that was fun. And we go to like really brilliant locations. It's a little bit premium, and we just have amazing experiences. And I want it to be very different. And we do 2 in-person ones a month, different price points, and just making it accessible. And it's all about just having fun and having support and connection. And the women are just amazing. So yeah, I absolutely love it.
But you do things that are just so different. Like I was watching a little like montage of photographs that you'd posted where you were on these looked like little bubble rafts or something on the River Thames. It looked amazing.
It was amazing. We went on the schooner boats. I can't even say it. The
Oh,
schooner boats, and it's like this igloo. And
yeah.
you go in and you have fondue and wine, and you go around like Canary Wharf, and it was just bonkers. And everyone was just like, "What are we doing? This is incredible." And it's just, but that's why London is the best city in the world, because there's all these mad little experiences and adventures that you can have, all these wonderful restaurants or pop-ups or bars or members club that that people, don't know about. And my dream day, with not that I have any free time anymore really, but is to just get dropped into an area of London that I don't know and just explore and just
Yeah.
walk the streets, and not in that way, but I mean walk the streets and explore. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a different sort of network.
times
Karen.
might be tougher. I mean, I'll do whatever needs doing, but I mean, it's walk the streets and just find all those magical little nooks and crannies, everywhere. I love it.
And you've also done things like craft making activities, haven't
Mm,
you? And flower arranging and all of that sort of thing. So,
yeah.
yeah,
I try and do a bit because obviously I don't want it to just be about going out and drinking wine. Well,
no,
obviously that there's a very much a place for that. I want it to be available to people that maybe don't drink, or they don't really, not really into that, whatever. So I like doing stuff that we make stuff. Like we did a painting workshop and we all sort of sat and painted the same thing. And it was just hilarious seeing how bad, well, I was definitely, how good we are at everything. So it's just mixing it up a little bit and making it accessible for different people's interests as well.
yeah, which is brilliant. So, talk me through Small Business Britain and how you got involved with working with them.
So when I was at PRS for Music before my epiphany that I need to leave, we were working with partners on doing activations all across the UK to bring the music industry and PRS Music to life a little bit. And we got introduced to Mish Ovens, who runs Small Business Britain, and we worked with her to do various showcases all over the UK, where we did like a party and we did a business workshop, and then we had a gig at the end of it. So they were really brilliant. And so I got to know Mish through that, and we always got on really well. We were always on the same level. I think we used PRS for Music once to host one of their events, because PRS was in King's Cross. It's opposite Google now actually, and they had this beautiful like cafe at the top overlooking. So it was a great venue. So we just always got on. And then when I was like I've had enough of this. I'm leaving. She said, well, why don't you come and work with me for a bit and help me out? Because I need some help because her business was growing as well. And it was just very organic like that. And now she's one of my great friends. I think she's incredible. She just run the blooming marathon last week, you know, as you do. And she's just a firecracker and a complete, you know, powerhouse. And small business is just growing and growing and growing and evolving. So yeah, it was more luck than judgment, as is a lot of things, right?
Yeah, sometimes in life, you know, people cross your path and you think, wow, this is electric. We've got the chemistry.
Mm,
Definitely, you two definitely have. And I was at the breakfast that Mish did back in 2017,
yeah,
2018. And we conceived between all of us this idea about women are doing more than one thing in their life.
absolutely.
And I remember then seeing that the I also idea, the F entrepreneur, was born. And I entered it the first year it took place and was lucky to be chosen as one of those 100 women. So talk a bit about that, because I think a lot of our listeners will be really interested about F entrepreneur,
Mm,
what that is, and yeah, what it stands for, really.
of course, we probably owe you a bit of money for that, like brainstorming session, don't we? But anyway, see ya. Sorry.
I've had more than support in spades, so I don't think I need to worry about that.
Oh, I do. I remember that vividly. We had this wonderful breakfast at the Corinthia in
Yes.
London, didn't we? And we all went round the table, and it was predominantly women, wasn't it? There were a few token men, God love them. And we all sort of started saying, "I do this, but I also do this, and I
Yeah.
also do this." And it really sort of got us thinking, especially that like "stay in your lane" comment from Big
Yeah.
Boobed Woman that I got. And I remember thinking, why aren't we celebrating the fact that women are doing all this stuff? Because we are, you know, it can be you're running a business, but you're also caring for an elderly relative. You've got a side hustle, you're volunteering for a charity, I don't know, you do whatever, you do like walks on a weekend, I don't know. And isn't this brilliant? And this is where the idea sort of flourished from. We didn't really know if it would land or not. You know, we thought it would because it was everything we were hearing. And we just thought, let's launch the I also list and ask for women to tell us all about their I also life and what they're doing. And you were exactly right, one of the first 100. And we had a big event at the House of Lords. We celebrated, we did lots of press, etc. And it just snowballed from there. So now every year since then, we call out for entries in September. It's all free to enter. And we just want to hear about incredible women who have their own business, but are also doing many other things, which is pretty much all of us, right? Let's be honest. And it's just gone incredible. It's just the community aspect of it is so overwhelming, actually. We've got a Facebook group with all the women in, and we don't have to do anything. Like if anyone's got needing something, they put it out there, and these women who have never met each other just swoop in from various sides of the world, country, whatever, and just help and support. And it's just so magical. Yeah, really,
It
really gorgeous.
it's incredibly supportive. The events that you put on are great. The online events, the lives, there's just so much there. So anyone listening to this, make
Mm.
sure you get your entry in.
Do
And then-
September,
Yes,
September.
in September. And then the other thing that again I was privileged to be picked for, unfortunately for me, it was the pandemic year, but the Small Business 100. Now that's been
Mm.
going an awful long time, celebrating Small Business Saturday in December. So talk
Yeah.
me a bit through the Small Business 100.
So each year we run the Small Business Saturday campaign as well, which if you don't know, it's a Saturday, the first Saturday in December, where it's all about going out and supporting local. So that day you don't go to Sainsbury's, you maybe go to your local butchers or your fishmongers, and you really support your local businesses. And in the months leading up to Small Business Saturday, we do a tour where some of the team go all around the
Mm.
UK and meet small businesses. They're a complete dream, the Matt and the team that do it. And they just go and actually go into their businesses, learn about them, give them some profiling. It's wonderful. So it's a really, really big thing for us. It's sponsored by Amex. It was originally from America. It's still done in America, and we look after the British arm of it. And as part of this, we pick the Small Biz 100, which are 100 businesses that we profile 100 days leading up to Small Business Saturday. So
Yeah.
we're going to be calling out for them very soon because we always work backwards. Do you do this, Debbie? Where we're just like, oh my God, what's 100 days before?
You can start
Guys,
doing
we've
it.
got to do it. So yeah, so we'll be calling out for them soon. But it's just a lovely way for people to get to know your business and get to know a bit about it. So yeah, it's really special actually, the Small Business Saturday campaign. And you know, it trends number one on X every
Mm.
year. it's, we get the politicians going out and doing all sorts, and celebrities. So it's really, really well backed. So yeah, we love it.
And you do a blue ball, don't you, as well?
We did, yeah. We didn't do it last couple of years, the blue tie ball. So yeah, but we definitely do a lot to support and celebrate. And the Small Biz 100 will get invites to other things, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
yeah, always great. And then let's just touch on the disabled entrepreneurs and what you do to support them as well.
Yeah, so the Lilac Review was launched only last year, which we can't believe. And this is a government-backed review to help and support disabled entrepreneurs. Now, I'm not a crier, right? And I did the focus groups for this when we first kicked it off because we were like, we just need to know what's happening here. So we did this series of focus groups with incredible disabled entrepreneurs. And I think we did about 15 in the end, speaking to loads and loads of people. My goodness, the challenges and the barriers that these people are facing is completely overwhelming. And the fact that they show up to run a business every day, pretty much, is astounding, because a lot of these people can maybe not go to work in the doing this like traditional sense because they're neurodivergent or they have accessibility needs that they can't be accommodated. So entrepreneurship is a real viable option for them because they can, look after their own time, as it were. But then the barriers there's very little access to finance, there's very little access to support, to help. And if there is any funding or any help, the forms that they have to fill in to even get there, one, you can't find them, and two, it's laborious. So, if you're neurodivergent, you're not going to be able to do that without any support. So there's barriers and barriers and barriers. So I'm not joking, after every focus group, I had to come off and I pretty much burst into tears. So I was like, it was so unjust. And I was so bowled over at these incredible people. So we got a real fire in our belly after speaking to them. And we're like, right, we need to do something about this. And I'm very, very happy that we have started that process and we're doing it. And we've got the key banks involved now, and they've all made a pledge that they will make accessibility for disabled entrepreneurs number one in terms of their how to access funding, how to access finance. So people are listening and people are doing something about it. And there's lots going on in the Lilac world, which is going to be announced really soon. But we're having our end of report launch next Monday. We've got some incredible disabled entrepreneurs coming along who have been really pivotal as part of it. So it's a real passion project for us, and it's just, and it's rage inducing how lack of support there is. So we're wanting to do something about it. So yeah, 30% of entrepreneurs are disabled, and
It's
they are an
so
untapped
important.
market. It's like,
Yes, so important. I was so
yeah,
chuffed when I saw that you were doing that, because over the years I've spoken to lots of entrepreneurs who set up their business purely because nobody would employ them,
exactly.
and they weren't getting the help and support and weren't getting taken seriously.
Yeah,
And actually, like you just said, this is an untapped talent pool of people who are incredible.
hugely,
So it's great that
hugely.
you're supporting them. So
Thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
check it out. Lilac Review.
we'll
Google
make
it.
sure we'll put the links in the show notes and
Thank you.
YouTube. And then what I also wanted to talk about was, I think it's coming up very soon, the Small Awards.
It is the 22nd of May. Da,
So
da,
tell
da.
us
Yeah.
about the Small Awards.
So the small awards, we've been doing these for a long time as well, and these are awards for small businesses to enter. And we have various categories, things like digital star, high street hero, sole trader, like soul to soul. So it's all about celebrating small businesses, and we have this huge award ceremony in London. It's free to enter, it's free to attend, and it's all about celebrating small businesses. So we're having, the theme this year is masquerade. So it's all going to be we have a choir, we have beautiful food, we've got Sue Perkins hosting it. It's just a magical, magical evening. So yeah, we're really excited. So we're frantically finishing finishing up. Well, the team are. I'm just sweeping with a mask on. So yeah, it'll be fantastic. But it's just such a magical night, and we're very aware, as you are, Debbie, that most people who go to award ceremonies are not going to win anything. So it's about giving them an incredible experience and an evening that they'll remember. And, it's a bonus if they win it,
So when will it open for 2026?
it will open, I'm going to get this wrong. I'd say I think October, but don't quote me.
Yeah,
But follow
we'll
Small
add
Awards.
the links in there, and then
Yeah,
just follow you on socials and you'll see the date that it opens.
yeah, do.
And it's
It's free to
properly
enter.
judged, isn't it? It's all properly judged.
Properly, honestly, we had our judging breakfast last week, where what we do is when we get all the entries in, They're filtered just from like, people that have just not written anything. And then
Really?
yeah, exactly. And then we send them to our judges, and they pick the overall winner of their category. Then we have a judges breakfast, which we held last week, and then we pick the overall small business of the year from the winners of the category. So the judges included, Chris Sims from BT. We had Erica there from Constant Contact. We had the last year's previous winner. We had Marsha Powell from Believe. Goodness, who else did we have? We had Alex from Zero. So it's like really big partners that are very much invested in the small awards. So yeah, do check it out. It's wonderful.
Oh, fabulous. Yes, we'll make sure the details are in the show notes. So that kind of makes us dovetail into talking about award entries, because you see them come in for the smaller ones. So as somebody who writes award entries as well, and you're very, not for the small awards, by the way,
No, never.
but for clients that you work with, what sort of tips would you say are really important to share for people completing an award entry?
Well, the biggest F up we see is that they don't answer the question.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you've given us this lovely answer about your business, but I've not asked you that. I've asked you something else. So it's just read the question. And like we've all been guilty of it, haven't we? We can all just, because we're so excited and you just want to skip into the good stuff. So just read the question. Adhere to the word count as well, because there's been a few that are really good and we're like, we just want to know a bit more, or you've not written quite enough. So just, go to as much as you can, and make sure you've got the right evidence, because a lot of the time awards ask for evidence. Small awards don't actually, but I know yours do, Debbie, don't they? But just make sure that it really supports what you're saying. And if you haven't got enough evidence, try and go out and get some. And, because that can be a bit of a turning point, can't it, unfortunately?
Yeah, because people do make some bold and bodacious claims in their entries, and if they can't back it up with something, proves what they're saying, it's very difficult for judges to give them points for that, because we can all say, I've got 1 million customers and I turn over 200 million every second, but we can't back it up.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's really good advice. The other thing I wanted to talk about was your podcast, because I am one of your regular listeners.
God love you.
I know. And
We
you have a lovely podcast where you have all kinds of conversations with people. So talk to us about your podcast.
Well, we do the Small Business Britain podcast. Is this what you mean with Mish? So Mish and I, we do a podcast, and basically we did it a while ago and it was just me on my own. And then we resurrected it when it was the election, because we were having so many people asking us about what the election means for small businesses, because it was a complete mess at some point, wasn't it? When we had like different leaders and it was like a revolving door at one point. So up until the election build up, we thought, well, let's just resurrect the podcast and chat. And we had people coming up to going, oh, it was brilliant, we really enjoy it. And we're like, and we didn't think anyone was listening really, but it's just gone on. And then we've had a few guests on. We have like guests for like our partners, like, we had like Gareth from Indeed, and, Alex from Zero came on. And it's just interesting to speak to people about their lives and about, how they got to the position they're in. And, I love a backstory. And Misha's just been appointed on the board of trade. So she's got that insight about tariffs and how that impacts small businesses and what those businesses need to be thinking about. We're not just talking about tariffs, that'd be well boring. But
no, it's funny. I'm just going to put that little plug in. That I
we
laugh,
try.
both because I know the two of you and I know the banter that you have. And it is literally like listening into someone's conversation.
Well, this is what we do, and we forget anyone's listening, and then we're like, oh, did I say that? So yeah, we have to, but no, it's good, and it's really enjoyable, and it's just another way to make small businesses feel engaged and that we've got their backs. And people have written into us and said, oh, can you talk about this a little bit more, or can you tell us a bit about this? Because it's ever evolving being a small business owner, and to try and get your head around something. And there's a lot of fear mongering in the world, in the press, and and it's upsetting times at the minute. There is a lot of uncertainty, so it's just trying to see how we can help and what are the opportunities, what are the the things that we can guide them on and help them with.
And how often the episodes going out? Are you doing them as series or?
No, not that organised, Debbie. We are doing them probably every 2 weeks at the moment. So yeah, just they're on everyone, everywhere where you find them. It's just a small business. Oh my goodness, small business Britain podcast. My gosh,
I have down. I tend to listen to those on long car journeys, and I'm
oh, bless you.
Coventry this week to the Who Awards. So you will be on my little playlist.
Oh, God love you. You are a good woman. I'll
I
send you an
always, it does
invoice.
make me laugh, and I sit there chuckling to myself. I feel like,
Oh, well, you just got to be real, haven't you? You know, it's like even when the world's a little bit on fire, you've got to just be relatable. And I think that's what the best podcasts are, aren't they? It's just
yeah,
normal people. That's,
it
you know, the ones I listen to are definitely like that. They just give you a little chuckle and like, oh God, yeah.
is. So we want to sort of finish off with a bit of a tip from you. And I mean, you've got 8 years under your belt now working for yourself. What would you say to somebody setting up in business?
I would say you're amazing, first of all, because to be an entrepreneur is a special kind of person and they're all bloody brilliant. And just don't go it alone. I know, like you always think at the beginning, oh, I don't have any money to pay anyone to do this. I don't have anyone, but delegation really is the key because you don't need to be sat, if you're not an accountant, you don't need to be sat looking at a spreadsheet thinking, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, you should be doing what you're good at. So even if it's costing a little bit of money, just try and make it happen for you or skill swap or do something, you know, because that's how you're going to grow, I think.
Because people can access support through Small Business Britain, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. You get involved with us. There's so many programs that we do for free. We've just started Bot Up Your Business this
I
morning,
saw that. I
which
saw
is
that.
all about AI and how AI can work for your business. We do the Small and Mighty program, which is a basics about starting businesses. It's all there. It's all for free. Sign up. You can watch at any time as well, because accessibility is a big thing for us. So you don't have to be sat there live. You can watch in your own time. And you know, it's all free. So please just get involved. It's all there for you. And we're here. Do you know what I mean? Drop us an email, drop us a line if there's anything that you are struggling with, because someone we know will be able to help for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's really supportive. I've just done the Adobe Express course, which was really
Yeah, it's
good.
good, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I kept meaning to sign up for the AI thing, and then I never got round to it. And it's just like, oh, should have done that.
Yeah.
But I know that you put the videos out there anyway, and people
Yeah.
can come to you because there's very little free support out there to access, and you are one hell of a organisation that people can get some
Oh,
free
thank
help
you.
from, which is
Thank you.
incredible.
That's what we want, and that's the whole aim of it, you know, is that it's tough. And to even think to yourself, I'm going to get out of bed and start my own business and do it, hats off to you, number one. Do you know what I mean? It's a special breed for sure. So
So our podcast episode will go out in, I think it's early June, yours is scheduled to go out. So what's on the trolley for Hotsy Totsy for the rest of the year?
oh my goodness. Well, we're going to early June, so let's think. We're going to the cinema. We're going to have a film night. We've booked a private cinema at the Castle in Hackney, which is a lovely Art Deco cinema. Then we're going to be announcing our summer party. I'm just going to say it's on the Waves as a
Ooh,
little clip. So if you're seasick, don't come. And that's going to be on the 3rd of July. And then we're busily, I went to Raffles this morning. Have you been yet?
no,
Oh
I
my
don't know.
goodness.
Is it amazing?
Yeah, so I really want to do an afternoon tea there, but I think we might have to all sell a kidney. But you know, I think it might be worth it. But yeah, so there's lots of foot. So yeah, but yeah, we're doing karaoke. So you know, varied, absolutely varied.
Wow, I still haven't got over the karaoke that we did at F Entrepreneur a few years ago. I think I've still got a hearing problem from that.
I know, poor
Oh, it's
people. I
great.
do
It's
apologize. You
great.
know, when there's Taylor Swift on, I can't do anything about it. It just happens.
Oh, it was great fun. Well, it's been an absolute joy to talk to you. I think
Oh,
listening to all the things you're doing, I need to lie down now, Karen. I'm
oh God, love you.
just
Don't be
doing
daft.
so much.
There's you.
Um,
You're the busiest woman I know.
and we'll make sure all the contact details are in the show notes. And if you're watching the video on YouTube, we will put them in the description. So
Yay.
you can contact Karen for Hotsy Totsy or all things Small Business Britain.
Please
So
do.
thank you for joining me today, Karen. It's been lovely to catch up with you,
Oh,
find out more about you, because I am a very nosy person. So it's I have the podcast, I can ask all these nosy questions.
love
And
it.
I wish you continued success with your business.
Oh, thank you. And thank you, Debbie, for all your support and friendship. You're an absolute diamond. I so
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank you, Karen. Bye.